Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reading r/Am I the Asshole? Not sure if you could tell or not, but my tonsils are still swollen. Am I the asshole for refusing to write a song for my unborn child despite writing one for my daughter? 11 years ago I had a daughter. Me and my wife wrote her a song/rhyme and it's something very special to us. My wife passed away during childbirth, and so the song is something me and my daughter used to feel a lot closer to her. 3 years ago I met a woman who I'm now engaged to. She's a wonderful woman, and 7 months ago we decided to try for a baby. After discussing it with my daughter, she's now 5 months pregnant and we're having twins. She initially asked about a song for them. She's heard me sing my daughter's song a lot, and I told her I wouldn't because it was mine and my daughter's thing, to be connected to her mother. She understood, but her family is still extremely upset about it. They were originally the ones who told my wife to ask about a song, and have not stopped badgering me about it, telling me I'll have my twins growing up thinking they're unloved and that I love my daughter more than them, and it's clear who my favorite child is. I think they're overreacting and don't think it will be that big of a thing. Plus, I wasn't even the one who wrote most of the song, I just sing it. My fiancé is also concerned and asked me not to sing this song where the twins would hear, which I understand, but she doesn't want me to sing it if they're in the house at all, and I don't think that's fair to my daughter. I don't think I'm the asshole. My fiancé thinks she's being fair. Her family thinks I'm evil and they're in the right. So Reddit, who's wrong in the situation? In my opinion, the only asshole is her family. I understand you not wanting to write one, it's a special thing for your daughter. I understand your fiancé wanting one. But I do think it's a little odd to not have the twins hear it at all. Maybe you could share it with the twins. I don't know if that'd be insensitive to your daughter or not though. Overall, I think it's NAH, which no assholes here. Time for our next post. Am I the asshole for not wanting to call my second grader's teacher Dr. Smith? His phrasing is a little weird, he's talking about his son's teacher. I have a son in 2nd grade who is in public school in the US that is fully remote. During the first week of school, I listened in on class. My son's teacher, who signed the only email we had from her as Dr. Sarah Smith, told the kids, "My name is Dr. Sarah Smith, but you don't have to call me doctor, because I know that can be confusing because I'm not a medical doctor, so just call me Sarah. Miss Sarah or Mrs. Smith. Our school's norm is calling teachers and staff by their first name." I filed this info away for my own self and went on with my day. A few days later, all the teachers met with families to get to know each other. My son's teacher came into the call and introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Smith. She was quite the talker and spent a lot of the time talking about her background and credentials, but seemed pleasant and excited about her job. Near the end, I asked, "Miss Sarah, can we still access the school library?" And she said, "Actually, it's Dr. Smith." I was taken back because I'd recalled her telling my son's class they could call her Miss Sarah. I couldn't figure out how to respond, felt rushed, so I quickly apologized for getting her name wrong and we signed off. Meanwhile, as I'm helping my son with his work, I've been noticing how she signs her messages to the students with Miss Sarah or Dr. Sarah Smith with the parents. In the classes, the students were calling her both Sarah and Miss Sarah. I was confused. Fast forward to this week, and we had our second parent-teacher meeting. Once again, my son's teacher jumped headlong into our meeting without much of a greeting and spent most of the time talking. When I finally got the chance to speak, I once again addressed her as Miss Sarah, and then she once again corrected me saying, "Actually, it's Dr. Smith." So I say, "I'm glad this came up because I overheard you say to the students they can call you Miss Sarah. And my son refers to you as that at home, so that's where my confusion is coming from." She replied, "With parents, I prefer to be called Dr. Smith," and then she steamrolled on until it was time to go. Now I feel she's just power tripping here. I don't want to feed her ego, nor continuing creating confusion in our house when my kid talks about his teacher, Miss Sarah, and I'm talking about Dr. Smith. Yes, am I the asshole for thinking the doctor is really warranted here? We are just dealing with teaching a bunch of 8-year-olds how to capitalize on proper nouns and what division is, but I get there was likely more to her degree than that. And I can put that all aside when it comes to being respectful and honoring people's wishes. However, all this has made me feel like just referring to her generally from here on out. So folks, am I missing out on some cultural norm here? Am I the asshole for not wanting to call her Dr. Smith? What does it hurt you to call her Dr. Smith when you're talking to her? When you're talking to your son, you can call her Sarah. It's not that hard. It does not take that much effort. You're just being straight disrespectful. And getting mad about her talking throughout the meeting, isn't that her job though? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have kids, but when I'm talking to my kid's teacher, I prefer to hear if they're qualified. I don't think she's stroking her ego. I think she's telling you, "Hey, I can take care of your kid." Time for the next post. Am I the asshole for shaming a friend of a friend for not having money to eat? Haven't read it yet, but you sound like an asshole, my dude. My friend Nick is friends with Joe. I'm cool with Joe, but he is less of a friend and more of an acquaintance. I know he is having a lot of family drama and has been couch surfing since his parents kicked him out. He has no job and doesn't go to school. I understand not having a stable roof over your head can make that challenging. I do work and go to school. I don't have much money at the end of the month because I help my family out with rent. I like to go to IHOP on the weekends to reward myself. If I go with friends, one person usually pays a tab, but all of us pay our portions plus contribute to the tip at the same time. Point is that money is tight with me. This morning I went to IHOP with Nick and Joe. He sort of invited himself as he is staying with Nick and his family right now. My meal was like $11, Nick's was $9, and Joe's was $15. I offered to put it on my credit card and Nick gave me $10 for his tab. Joe just shrugged and said he had no money but he'd pay me later. That pissed me off. I asked him, "Oh, so you found a job? When do you get paid?" He laughed and said he had no job. I asked him how he was going to pay me back, and he said not to worry. He was shameless and nonchalant about it. Finally, I told him it was a total dick move to invite yourself to breakfast, knowing he could not pay and would not pay me back. I told him I don't even know him, and to do that to someone you don't know means you're not very likely to pay them back. He laughed, so I said no wonder his family disowned him. Nick told me that was a low blow. I asked Nick to then pay me back, and he said he didn't have any more money and that's not his problem. Okay, I take it back. You're not the asshole. I know I said it when I was reading the title, but I take it back. Misunderstood the situation. That's why you read stuff. Yeah, he's a total dick. You don't go to dinner, especially invite yourself to breakfast. My bad. You don't invite yourself to breakfast and then expect someone else to pay for you. Don't do that. He's a jerk. Well, yes, that was a low blow. Like, dude, did you have to say that? Overall, I still think you're not the asshole. On to our next post. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she should stop spending so much time with her half-brother? A little bit of background. I'm 24 male and my girlfriend is 25 female. We've been dating for 4 years now and everything has been smooth sailing so far. I have a job in IT and she's going to art school full time. I currently pay most of her apartment rent since she doesn't have a job and I do pretty well for myself. Eventually when my lease runs out, we're planning on moving in together. A couple months ago, my girlfriend did a 23andMe. She got her results and that was that. Until she got a message from someone. Apparently their DNA matches and he told her that he was her half-brother. She was completely shocked and she confronted her mom about it and her mom confirmed it. Several years before my GF was born, her mom was young and got pregnant, but put it up for adoption since she couldn't care for it. Later she got married, had my GF, and continued to live her life like nothing happened. When my GF found out, she wanted to meet her brother and I was very supportive. As luck would have it, he only lived an hour away, so they decided to meet halfway and get dinner. I tagged along since my girlfriend was nervous. The dinner was great. He's a successful retail agent. We all had a good time. He even tipped the waiter 30%, which is always a good sign of character. After dinner, he started coming over to her apartment more and more. At first it was once every 2 weeks, then once a week, and now he's there like 3 days a week. Now normally I wouldn't have a problem with this since they're family, but he's been acting weird towards my girlfriend and dismissive towards me. For example, I walked in the other day while they were watching a movie and he had his arm around her and his hand on her thigh. I talked to him about it later and he told me he was just playing the fire truck game and it wasn't a big deal. What the hell's the fire truck game? I'm 18, how can I already be this out of touch? He also keeps calling me sport to greet me, which I hate but my girlfriend thinks is cute. He asked her to get beers for him and one time I could have sworn he dropped the bottle cap so she would bend over to pick it up. The tipping point was when he asked for a key to her apartment and she gave him one. Even I don't have one. I confronted her about it and told her it made me uncomfortable, but she waved it off and said he's family and there's nothing weird about it. I got pretty upset and we had a yelling match for about 15 minutes. I told her I don't think she should be spending so much time with him anymore. And it ended with me saying if he keeps the key to her apartment, then I'm not going to help pay for rent anymore, and maybe he should pay for it. I stormed out and we haven't talked in 2 days. It all feels so inappropriate and like he's tried to replace me, but maybe it's all in my head? Am I the asshole? I don't think you're the asshole. First of all, you are paying for her rent, so I think you kind of deserve a key to be honest. If you guys are close, you're paying for her rent, come on. I know someone paying for your rent doesn't entitle them to anything, but I'm gonna be honest, if someone close to me, like my boyfriend, and I had a boyfriend for a long time and was paying for my rent, I'd give them a key. And don't lie, the way the brother's acting is sus. It's weird. That's weird. You don't act like that with family. It's strange. Time for our next post. Am I the asshole for refusing to eat out with my family after they cheated me? So about 3 months ago, I was eating out with my uncle and aunt. We were eating at a pretty nice, expensive, fancy restaurant, so we could expect the bill to be pricey. The bill came and it was about 67 quid, including tax and tip. I volunteered to pay for the bill because I was in a good mood that day and felt like they were family, so I should foot the bill since I rarely see them. My aunt and uncle thanked me and said they'll pay me back whenever we eat out again. We eat out together every month. I kept this in mind and sent them reminders throughout the past 2 months, which every time they'd say something like, understood, or something else like that. Sometimes they even call me just to remind me not to worry that they'll forget. So after that, we ate out with each other again, this time with my mother and father. I asked my uncle and aunt for the money, to which they asked what I was talking about. I told them I had paid for the meal which we had eaten last month and showed them my email containing the billing information and also their text messages. They denied this still and said I must have been speaking with another one of my uncles and aunts. I then showed them my contacts, which leads to my messaging app. Again, they denied this and said I must have got their name wrong. Throughout this conversation, I swear I saw sweat coming down their forehead, which is strange since we're in an air-conditioned restaurant. I continued showing them proof of the bill which I had paid, but they stood their ground, and apparently, standing my ground is not one of my talents. I ended up giving up and not saying much after that. We kept eating until the bill came, and the uncle and aunt suggested I foot the bill since I hadn't ever footed the bill before. My mother and father said I should do it since I wasn't going to see them for a while because they're moving. They weren't aware that I had paid for the bill last month when I ate with my aunt and uncle since they didn't eat with us. Now, I don't know about others, but I'm not good at standing my ground like I mentioned. Hell, some people would even call me weak and easy to manipulate, so I'm pretty sure you can guess the line of events from here on with this information. And if you couldn't, I had to pay for the bill once again, wasting another 70 quid. About a week ago, my uncle invited me to eat with them again. This time my grandparents and siblings would be coming. I wasn't going to let the same thing repeat, so in my most polite way, I kindly told them no. This caused a lot of backlash at me, and my grandparents were confused. Most of my siblings were too. But the thing that really stood out to me was that my uncle and aunt stopped talking to me. Now, I don't think you're the asshole for not wanting to go to dinner with them, and they're completely the assholes for trying to use you and denying that they even had dinner with you. But I will say, why do you keep bothering them about the money? When you agree to foot a bill, you can't expect to be paid back. That's like me giving you a gift and then saying, hey, you owe me money for that, by the way, and continuously texting and calling you saying, don't forget you owe me money for that gift I gave you. That's where I'm a little iffy, so I think this is an everyone sucks situation. Time for the next post. Am I the asshole for kicking my friend out of the house even though she has nowhere else to go? My boyfriend, 30 male, and I, 28 female, moved into a fairly large house together last year. When all the COVID things started getting out of hand, we decided to open our house up to one of our friends, 30 female, and my BF's cousin. The friend who moved in with us, Kate, fake name, lost her job before the pandemic, and 2 months ago, with the end of the lease, she couldn't afford a place to live. My boyfriend and I have a common friend group that we knew since the college days, around 7 years. Kate joined this group 2 years ago. When our friends informed us of her losing her house, we decided, hey, we have some free space, come stay with us until you can find a permanent solution. We also covered the food expenses while she helped with the chores. She accepted and moved in within a few days. When she first moved in, she was acting friendly with me, but as time progressed, she started becoming colder and colder towards me, but was still friendly with my BF. A month ago, she started acting weird. While we were watching Netflix, she started sitting in between me and my BF, touching or hitting his arm lightly when she was laughing, touching my BF's neck or hair while saying good morning to his ear, or trying to massage him constantly. I didn't know what to do, especially because my boyfriend did not say anything at the time, and I didn't want to be the crazy GF. However, he sat me down a week or so ago, and told me he is extremely uncomfortable by the way Kate was behaving. Let me tell you, I was so relieved that I was not the only one who was thinking she was acting strange, lol. When he said I'm not around, her behavior only increases, and he didn't know what to do because he's scared of telling me, as he thought he may be overthinking it. We decided to speak to her if she did it again, and went to bed happy. 2 days ago, I drove to my parents' house to visit them and help them with their needs as they don't go out. I got a text 2 hours into my visit from my BF asking me to come home urgently. When I returned, everyone in the house was yelling and I was very confused. When my BF saw me, he said that he wanted to talk to Kate about what she had been doing was making him uncomfortable. And apparently she didn't take this well because she said she does this with everyone. And when I took my BF's side, more yelling and calling names happened. We told her to get her things and get out. I thought our friends would take our side when we told them about this, but now the whole group is divided. Most of them said yes, she is wrong if she was making us uncomfortable, but she's just a touchy person. We're assholes for kicking her out in a pandemic where she has nowhere else to go. I trust my boyfriend very much, as he's been nothing but an honest partner for the past 5 years. He said he decided to talk to her if she kept caressing his arm and touching his thigh, and he hated it. You guys are not the assholes. She is straight up a dick. You don't touch people, and your excuse can be, I'm a touchy person. If you're making them uncomfortable, you're making them uncomfortable. I don't care if you're a touchy person. Don't touch me if I don't want to be touched. That's simple. Happens with females and males. If you don't want to be touched, they don't want to be touched. And if your friends have such a problem, why don't they take her in? Real quick before our next post, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to make up for my tonsils burning. Am I the asshole for making someone unpack a box because they accidentally took my stuff? This happened a couple days ago, and the person I offended still refuses to talk to me. This seems laughable and insignificant to me, but I don't understand why she's being so childish. I, 29 female, have been living with my roommate Amy, 27 female, for 4 years. I've known her for 11 years, and we're good friends. Amy decided to move out, and her mom, Beth, 50s, came to stay with us to help Amy move. While Amy was at work, Beth packed Amy's boxes. She checked in with me sometimes to make sure she's packing the right things. On Wednesday, I realized Beth had accidentally packed one of my knives. Beth said the knives were at the bottom of the box and she couldn't take them out. She suggested I visit Amy's house in the future and get the knife back. I told her it was unlikely to visit Amy's house. I hadn't gone to any friend's house for 8 months now, and I won't for the foreseeable future. I told Beth that once Amy gets home from work, we the youngsters could unpack, find it, and repack. After I left the kitchen, Beth unpacked the box herself and brought the knife to my bedroom. Now Beth won't talk to me, refuses to look at me, and leaves the room if I walk in. She complained to Amy about my behavior, so I asked Amy to explain why Beth was so insulted. Beth probably thinks I valued a knife over her feelings. I think it's normal to ask people not to take things that belong to me, though I realize in the end this is one knife and I may have been acting petty. So am I the asshole for taking my knife back? No, you just said, hey, you packed my shit, can we unpack it? And you didn't even tell Beth to unpack it, you said you would. On to our next post. Am I the asshole for doubting a girl's sexuality? So I, 15 female, have a friend, 15 female, who I call A. Me and A are both bisexual, but A seems to rarely talk about having feelings for girls, and none of the bisexual stereotypes seem to apply to her. She always talks about this one guy she's a crush on, and I think she just says she's bi for the fun of it, which makes me, as a real bisexual, pretty annoyed. I know I'm probably an asshole for this, but I confronted A about it and said she shouldn't fake being bisexual for internet points or popularity. She got really upset and shouted at me saying mean things like, you shouldn't pretend you know my sexuality better than I do. That was so rude, and I don't even know why we're friends. You always do this. I spoke to some of our other friends, and most of them are on her side, saying I was out of line and I wasn't allowed to do that. A isn't out to her parents yet, but if she was, I would ask them as well. I'm pretty sure they're homophobic though. Anyway, am I the asshole for letting my friend is faking being bisexual? I feel like I'm not the asshole because I didn't actually do anything, just asked her. Someone can be bisexual and still favor a gender? You were gonna talk to her parents about it? Come on, bro. You know that's not cool. Also, they have an edit, so I'm gonna read that real quick. Thank you all for your judgment. I've thought about this and realized a few things. 1. I need to update my opinions on bisexuality. 2. Even though I didn't realize it, I was gatekeeping. 3. I need to apologize to A for being rude. There is no such thing as real bisexuality, and it was rude of me to think that A was faking it because she didn't exactly act like me. We'll call her now and apologize. If you want an update on how it goes, feel free to PM me. I probably won't make another edit on this post. Once again, thank you for making me realize how wrong I was, and sorry to anyone who had to deal with my replies. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to have a great day.